Welcome to That Digital Take. I'm your host, Tori Webster. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to That Digital Take. Happy Monday. I hope you all had an incredible weekend. Guys, this is episode 32, I believe we're at. And my producer, James, and I were just chatting about this, wow, you get so good at things as you really commit and give it time. We were trying to figure out, when will I hit 10,000 hours of podcasting? When will that really inform that I'm an expert in the podcast landscape? Until then, I'll just keep chugging along and creating quality content for all of you. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. Okay, let me update you. What is going on? I'm in chaos. This is what happens pretty much every June, July, August. I really kind of lose myself. It's high tide, high time. Things get really busy on the brand side, a lot of activations, a lot of travel, a lot coming down the pipeline. Again, a blessing, a beautiful job, a job that gives back to me tenfold and is so entertaining, but definitely you ride the waves of the industry, and there are months that are slow and there are months that are crazy, and that is also entrepreneurship. So all that to say, I'm off to F1 this weekend. I will also note, it is quite rare for me that I get a whole new experience into something. For example, festival life, I've been doing that for what feels like a decade. I've done a million press trips. I've gone on all the travel across the world. But F1, this is new for me. This is a new experience. I've never been to F1 before. And this is kind of a twofold experience, because first I'm flying out with Apple, and we're actually going to get a sneak peek of the new F1 movie, Brad Pitt, cough, cough. Very excited to get a little preview on that. Get to spend some time with my Apple family, which I'm very pumped about. And then pivoting gears into the weekend, that will be actually the F1 race in Montreal. So I will be with Heineken, and you guys know I did Coachella with Heineken, so it feels like another really full circle moment with one of my favorite brands. We're going to do a trackside experience. We're going to a DJ concert with Kate Trinata. Guys, will I be drinking energy drinks? Probably. Will I be partying? Probably. How will I feel when I record on next Monday to give you next week's episode? I don't know. Let's see what comes your way when I return from F1. But until then, I am off, and by the time you're listening to this, my experience there will be finished. I hope I have a great time manifesting for my future self. And anyways, yeah, that's kind of what's on the pipeline this week. So about today. Now, this is going to feel like potentially a word vomit episode, potentially just me chatting to my therapist episode, I don't know, having an awakening. Maybe I will land on some answers by the end of this episode. But this conversation has been coming up a lot behind the scenes. I do, as you guys know, a lot of kind of consulting work on the side, or a lot of meetings with my clients, and a lot of networking situations. And AI has been coming up a lot recently in conversation. Now, let me first start by saying, I am someone that doesn't want the train to leave the station without me. Why do I say that? Well, I've been in the industry for 10 years, and it feels like in every industry there are pivots, and there are things that happen along the way, and they're kind of like bumps in the road, and things that either enter the industry or disrupt the industry. And it's up to us to really either jump on board and adapt to the changes, or, in my opinion, be left behind. That's kind of how I have always seen it. Now, as a reminder, I've been doing this 10 years. Not that you guys need to be reminded. You all know I've been in the industry for too long. But when I started, this was the blogger era, okay? And I am someone that never leaned fully into the blog of it all. I wasn't necessarily leaning into writing. But because of that, I was an early adopter in video. I liked chatting to the camera. I liked editing videos. And this was even before video existed on Instagram. So by the time TikTok came along, and Snapchat and Facebook and all of these other platforms, I already had the skills on Final Cut Pro to put to the test and create video content. Now, why do I say all of this? Because if you're not leveraging the tools ahead of the curve, then by the time you catch up with the trend, you're already left behind. This is sort of how I feel about AI, coupled with the fact that I'm a little bit terrified of AI, but I'm also in the camp that if I don't learn it, and if I'm not leveraging it properly now, how am I possibly going to feel in 5 years, 10 years when AI in general could be a huge part of our workflow? Now, I obviously do not have a crystal ball. I don't know where the creator economy will be in 10 years, but as it stands, we're in $1 billion industry. It's not going anywhere in the next 365. So I think it's my job as a creator to learn and be proficient in some of these new capabilities. Now, this comes with caveats, and this also comes with like my inherent fear of AI because like one, I'm not trying to like lose my job completely. And then two, I obviously feel very passionate about creativity and there's a lot of ethics around AI. And anyways, you can already see I'm rambling. See how I said this is going to put me somewhere? Okay, so let's start at the beginning. I feel like AI needs to not be our identity, obviously, when it comes to how us as creators can leverage it. But this does need to be a conversation. So today, this is going to be a full AI combo. And my take is where creators should and can be using AI, and then where I think they should just simply run and like not leverage AI and rely on their own critical thinking skills. Okay. Now, also, I will say too, I don't love that it can be like, I don't know if I love it or hate it. Again, I don't know where I land on an opinion on this, but it does feel crazy that as someone that spent 4 years in post-secondary school, that now everything can just feel like it's at your fingertips. Not that Google was ever really that different, but it felt like search engine, like using Google as a search engine was never the same as like what ChatGPT can offer us now. So for the younger generation, I feel like this is even more terrifying because I think critical thinking skills are actually going to the wayside, and that scares me. So anyways, all of this to say, this is a very positive and negative take on AI, and I think just a conversation starter. And like I always say, when things come up in my personal life or in my career as a creator, I feel like it's really important then to bring it onto the pod, dissect it, and give it some, nuance. So here we are. Okay, so let's first talk about automation versus authenticity. So I feel like there is this creator dilemma in this age of AI. So let's talk about it in segments. I love a list and we can break it all up. So segment 1, the smart way to use AI and also not the lazy way. So hopefully in line with my personality, work harder. No, that's not it. Work smarter, not harder. So if you can do something faster and better, I do believe that that is what you should be doing in any business. Okay, so the focus. So practical tools and optimization, and then creating value in those uses and value adds in your work. So here's where I think AI is actually doing a great job and where I feel like as creators, we can and potentially should be leveraging it in order to make our workflow faster, more simple, and potentially better. Okay, let's start with caption. Captions in general, when it comes to branded content, and again, this is gonna maybe fall on deaf ears for people that are not on the creator side of things, but for creators out there, creating captions when it comes to key messaging and branded content can actually be somewhat challenging because a lot of brands want to integrate like so many key messages into one caption. There's a lot of hashtags that need to be added. There's a lot of, like red tape, I guess would be the only way to describe it. So I think that caption generation on AI can be a okay place to start. Now, I say okay place to start because please, for all that is holy, don't go in and just like copy paste like a random ChatGPT caption and then copy paste that into Instagram and just like hope that that's going to do the thing. That is not going to work. And there's a few reasons for that. Instagram actually knows when you're leveraging AI and AI text. I don't know if you guys know that, but there's a lot of data that shows that AI text copy pasted into Instagram is not optimized. So you don't want to be doing that because that's already going to then hurt your organic reach. But then let's talk about SEO optimization. On the other side of things, you can and should be leveraging AI to find the best set of tags, hashtags, keywords, and things that you may not have access to just off the top of your head. So again, that kind of goes back to my original statement, which is if you can be handed like 10 tags or hashtags that are going to be like completely optimized for a specific, let's say, beauty video, then I actually do think that that's a little bit of a detriment if you're just not leveraging that, right? So I'm playing both sides of the coin. Do I think you could do it completely off the cuff and just based on your own research? Yes. Is AI potentially making that faster and easier and helping with organic reach and SEO? Also, yes. So, take it with a grain of salt. All right. Ideation and, titles, hooks, formatting, all of that good stuff. Now, again, this is more for the everyday creator, but this is something we deal with a lot on the back end, which is concepting for brands, coming up with ideas that are potentially, going to go viral, ideas that are going to hit. Here's where I have an issue with using AI for idea generation. We are hired almost like an agency or a creative agency would be to come up with unique ideas, to come up with, our je ne sais quoi. Like we're offering something that the brands can't do on their own. They're leveraging creators to do it. I do feel like this is where I run into an ethical dilemma when it comes to creators leveraging AI for concepting and creative ideas. Yes, can it make it faster? Yes, can it help streamline it? Sure. Does it mean that that's the right thing to do? Again, I don't know. I feel like as creators, we are being hired for our expertise, our knowledge of our audience. And again, we have to keep in mind, and I'm sorry that this is so long-winded and potentially repetitive, but my issue with AI at its core is that it's only as good as the teacher, right? So if I become an amazing teacher to my ChatGPT, yes, it will understand my brand. Yes, it will understand my audience. And maybe at that stage, I could feel comfortable enough to do a bit of plug and play and find some concepting for brands and find ways in that might be more creative based on the AI understanding me. But we can't just go into a general admission chat and basically ask for a creative concept without it knowing anything about us. So I think that's where some creators could potentially go very wrong. Like if you're not doing the legwork to actually have the AI understand you, you're already at a deficit. Okay. So again, potentially positive. You could teach the AI to understand you, your brand, your audience, what you're after, your creative flow, your tone. Like these are all things that brands are paying you to come up with. And yes, it could help streamline it to put all of that into ChatGPT and then help with ideation. But I don't know. This is where I get stressed out. I don't know. Yes or no. I don't know. You guys tell me. Okay. Editing. This is another whole new wave of AI introduction that could potentially save creators a lot of time. There are transcripting tools now, which is amazing, which is basically like, creating the script on screen. We have already seen how amazing that's been through tools like CapCut, and it's instantaneous. Like I can do transcribe video, and within 5 seconds, I've got, a 10-minute video that has all of its transcriptions written out. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's fast. It's all of these things. But again, are we going to get to a place where we're putting all of our raw footage into an editing software and then it's clipping everything to get together? That already exists. Some creators, I'm sure, are actually already leveraging that. Again, here's my ethical dilemma. I'm someone that is paid for my unique take, my unique editing style. It's something I've worked on for over 10 years to be proficient in editing. It's one of the things that is built into my fees. So this is where things can get really complicated. Like half of the things that we could potentially leverage out to AI are some of the tools and services that we're actually being paid for. So that does feel like a potential issue. Okay, creating visual storyboards and mood boards with tools like Midjourney, obviously, and Canva to add another tool to the tool basket. We can leverage these tools to be faster, but it does freak me out. I feel like I'm a broken record. I'm like, so use it, but also I'm scared. But also, if we don't learn it, then also you're kind of shit out of luck. So it does feel like I'd rather be proficient in these tools than not. Okay, so let's talk about the visuals a little bit. This is like visuals, storyboards, creating mood boards, all of those things. Here is one of the other issues that comes out of this. We're taking work away, and this is the honest to God truth. Like we might be in a place where people that create visual product design, people that create pitch decks, producers that leverage all of these like visuals and storyboards on film sets, like those are all jobs that could just simply disappear within the next year, let alone the next 5 years. And that can be somewhat terrifying. Like creativity and art has always been at the foundation of, for lack of a better word, the creative industries. And it's like, what do we do when half of those jobs are being taken away and now these visuals are being created with legitimately a snap of the button? Like, I don't know how many of you have played around on Sora, I believe it's called on ChatGPT, but if you attach some images into chat, you have these immediate, like literally within seconds, visuals that are created. And it's freaky, but it's also not bad. Like the visuals don't always look bad. Sometimes they actually look quite good. And this is the other thing. Are we going to come to a place where everything that is AI needs to be disclosed as AI? There could be an example like a book cover is created, but an AI person creates it, not an actual artist. Like, does it have to say in the top corner, created and generated by AI? Like, these are more the questions that I'm curious about moving forward in the next 5 years. Where will this become regulated, if at all? Right now on Instagram, there's one simple toggle that says, this is AI generated. But I'm sorry, like, I was served a video over this past week of a very, very famous actor, and it was like him basically talking shit about another actor. Not until I got to the very end of the small disclosure in the caption did it say, this was created using AI. And it's like, okay, well, I just spent the last 5 minutes thinking that this actor was talking shit about another actor until I literally saw the small print. So these are the issues that I'm running into, because yes, it's making things faster. It's making things potentially more visually exciting. It's making things cheaper, but is it actually making things better or safer, especially when it comes to online usership? I don't know. Again, we can't come up with all these answers today. All right, let's talk also about using audience segmentation or community response analysis. So kind of using ChatGPT analytics when it comes to social media. Again, do I think that this can streamline the creator experience? We might be able to get more insight into SEO, more insight into performance, more insight into what works and what doesn't. I leave it up to all of you to interpret. And I say all of this with, I hope you all knowing that I am leveraging it in my workflow in the best way that I feel safe using it. But I also think that, like I said at the very beginning, if you're going to be a creator that rejects this completely, I don't necessarily think that's the right. Again, I can't tell you how to run your business, but I don't think that that's necessarily going to push you in the right direction. It's like, either get on board or don't. This is like almost like the new wave of the internet. Like the people that became proficient in web back in the 90s, like look at them now. They're all millionaires. So maybe AI is our future and we just need to lean in. All right, email responses, batching for brand collabs, pitching, all of that good stuff. This is where I feel like AI can actually be a great help. Now, I'm someone that doesn't like to have a big team. I don't like to rely on a lot of outside noise or people internally in my business for a few reasons. Like, I deal with a lot of brands where I'm working on NDAs. I deal on a lot of things that are under embargo. I deal with sensitive, brand analytics, my own analytics, all of that good stuff. So for me, I don't love, giving someone a full veil behind the curtain into my everyday email, account or things like that. This is where I have found AI can be amazing. I think that leveraging for almost like an assistant role, that is very productive and honestly is way cheaper than if I were to hire someone in-house. Either I'm paying someone a commission or I'm paying a $20 a month, AI fee. So way cheaper than if I were to hire someone in-house. And of course, it does still require me to be very hands-on, because it's not like I'm just fully relying on AI to respond to all my emails, but it does save me a lot of time. So maybe this is something that you guys are looking into or you might be interested in implementing into your workflow. My perspective on all of this is that AI should basically speed up your process, but not replace you, obviously, and also not replace your personality. And I think that's a big thing too. And that's what I go back to about teaching AI your tone, teaching AI your own ethics line, your sentiments, especially when it comes to brand deals or how you speak to clients. And like you could prompt chat to be like, hey, work like a, Hollywood agent. And they might be like really stern and really crazy. And like, it might be this wild email. But if they know you well enough and you can reverb that into like your own personal tone and your own negotiation style, then I feel like that could just save you a little bit of time in the back and forth. Now, here's a bit of a hot take, but if your whole video as a creator can be written by AI, whether like scripting and or like you yourself as like the AI generated person, maybe the problem isn't actually the tool, it's actually a lack of a point of view. And this is what I was chatting about at the beginning about creators not losing what we are essentially paid for, which is our point of view, which is our creativity, which is our humanity, our touch point on our audience. Like, these are things that are truly irreplaceable in my opinion. Is there a way to marry both AI and like basically the AI new wave and then also digital as we've known it up until this point? I think so. I think it's the only way forward. Otherwise, we're going to be completely overtaken by AI. And I want to just quickly say I've spoken to some people in the industry about AI, and I know there's a lot of differentiating opinions, but one of the more popular opinions is, oh, it's not coming to change anything. I don't see it implementing itself into the industry in a real way. Here's where I do disagree on that. If you scroll TikTok right now, one of the most trending videos of the last 2 weeks has been this AI-generated mermaid trend. You basically implement a photo of yourself into the TikTok AI, and it creates a photo of me that then transforms itself into an AI mermaid. If this is not the most viewed and used tool in the last 2 weeks, you can't tell me that the audience, that the consumer, that the customer is not using AI and is not leveraging AI. They absolutely are, even if they wanted to admit to it or not. They buy into the trends, they buy into the movement, and if the movement is AI generated, that's where all the content is heading. So that's where I do push back on some of that more, negative stance on AI. I'm like, baby girl, it's here. Either get on board or don't. Okay, segment 2. I can't stop myself today. I'm on a roll. Okay, segment 2. Where to push back on AI and why it matters. I feel like I've been pushing back on it this whole episode, so I don't know. Like I'm constantly in it and also pushing back at the same time. So here's some more things to think about. When we've already mentioned this, ethics is huge, right? There's ethics, there's the trust factor, there's originality. There's so many risks and red flags that come with AI. One thing that freaks me out a lot, using AI-generated voiceovers or avatars without my personal disclosure. Do I also think this could be the future? Maybe the future is brands actually paying me for my AI avatar or my AI voice. And I'm not too precious. Like, hey, brands, if you're listening, there's a world where I could sell you my voice for, a pretty penny. I don't know. I don't know my line on that yet, but that's why I think that having these conversations early on and figuring out our lines when it comes to ethics is important. But all that to say, that legitimately could be the future of the creator economy, which is us offering up our AI-generated selves, our AI voices to brands to leverage. Now, the scary thing is brands could already do this, especially for people like me that kind of talk for a living. There's a lot of long format conversation of me online. People could leverage my voice and create basically already an AI version of me. Freaky. Not giving you any ideas. Please don't do that. But anyways, all that to say, okay, auto responses to fans that ruin community feel. This freaks me out too. Like the idea that, AI could just be happening behind the scenes and responding to my comments for me, but then it's not actually coming from me. There's such a lack of authenticity. I don't get to have those one-on-one touch points with my fans, with my community, with you guys where you're telling me what you like, what you don't like. I find that so valuable and I don't want to give that up. And that freaks me out to think that like a tool could come in and take that part away from me. Scripted relatability when authentic becomes very algorithmic. Can I speak today? Thank you. And this is the issue when it comes to throwing things into chat. And you can say things like, hey, chat, like make sure this is like high SEO and make sure it still feels authentic. But like at the end of the day, a machine is still spitting it out. Okay. So that's never going to feel the same as me just having this like conversation with the way it's happening right now. Brands also need to get real because I feel like they are also buying into this AI at a very high level. They actually want the polish. They are desperate for the polish. But the issue with that and the issue with leveraging ChatGPT polish is that it's losing the voice of all the creators. And this is what I'm coming back to, which is like, if brands just want to use robots, then just use robots. And like, maybe that will be the future. And maybe this is just a depressing episode. But again, I just want to say, if this is all the truth in 5 years, at least I said it first. Okay, so my perspective on all this, creators are brands now ourselves, and trust is legitimately our currency as it stands in 2025. So with AI, we just know we can't fake it, right? Like you cannot fake trust. And AI captions that say, oh, this is what kills me. This was my note about how everything now in the captions, like, how I was talking about, like you could use AI to help you with caption generating. They use the same words over and over again. They say things like girl math and like they have all of these like buzzy meme culture words in every single video and every single caption. And then this is when we scroll and we say doom scroll and we like literally are losing brain cells because the internet truly feels unwatchable at that point. It's like we're losing authenticity. We're losing our sense of selves. Everything is robot. Everything is machine generated. It's not relatable. It's not working. It's just repetitive content. And then we're just wondering why we are so depressed. Like it's literally the content we're consuming. Okay. And then finally, segment 3. The rise of AI influencers, and we've talked about this also a little bit already in this episode. But this is what human creators need to learn fast. Okay, so the focus, AI generated creators and the growing brand budget shift. I really think, guys, there is a future where brands will be putting money towards AI generated influencers. Will that mean leveraging people like me and people like influencers that already exist to like buy our name and likeness? That is yet to be seen, but could very much be the truth. But there already are virtual influencers that gain a mass following. Like we see the Lil Michaelas. Maybe there's going to be Lil Michaela 2.0s popping up all over the place. And yes, I know that they have to be disclosed, like this is AI generated, but sorry, people are still following it. This is why I push back, because I think that everyone's like, it's fine, nobody cares. No, but they do. And they're following these people and they engage and they use AI generated content and they use the AI generated editing tools on CapCut and they use all of the AI stuff on Canva and on ChatGPT. So that's why I feel like this is very relevant. And if you're not on it now, you are already behind. I have to say it 5 times so that the creators that are listening, you are already behind if you're not leveraging it. Okay. Brand UGC and why this will also change with AI. AI can now be generated with no shoot days, no contracts, no negotiations. It's simple, it's faster, it's cheaper. I'm sorry, but every business that has gone through any sort of evolution, if you can do something faster, cheaper, and with no red tape, no real human interaction, no shoot days, no contracts, why would people not love that? Again, food for thought. Okay, some tools that also simulate creators' voices with ads, like I said earlier, could just literally be leveraging my voice. I could be the radio ad. They don't need to ask me for it. They just plug my voice into a system. It turns into this. Hey, I'm Tori Webster, and I'm so excited to be promoting Pizza today. Like, there you go, Pizza. I just gave you a free shout out. But I'm just saying, like, that could happen so easily. All right, my perspective on all of this, there's always going to be room for human context, and we cannot forget that. We have to keep pushing to involve our humanity, involve our creativity, involve our unique ideas that come from us. There's always going to be a lived experience, or surely I hope there will be, where people want to be seeing the real, the raw, the behind the scenes. And then also there's cultural fluency. Like people want to see real people doing real things. And I genuinely hope that that continues to be the case. But again, AI doesn't know the vibe shift until we tell it, right? So like I said, unless we are educating our own AI software about who we are, they're not just going to learn on their own. Like we are the teachers. So I think we have to be pretty comfortable with, I don't know, doing the hard thing, whether that's like learning the tools and then not leveraging them in every single way, finding our own line when it comes to ethics, and really finding our way into this industry without it letting it overtake us, if that makes sense. Now, I do have a bit of a discussion question, which I do like to end some of these episodes on when I feel I can't offer all the answers, which obviously this is one of them. We don't know what's coming. It is a little bit terrifying. It's also a little bit exciting, like, to be honest. Like, we think about like all the shifts in the industry. Everything has been a little bit random and a little bit narrow and a little bit out of left field. And if you would ask me 10 years ago if I would, be having half of my career on TikTok, I would have been like, what? Like, I don't understand. That makes no sense. Video content, like it all seemed new. So maybe that's okay that this all seems new and we can just adapt and find ways to make it work for us and with us as opposed to against us. So here is my discussion question for all of you. How can we remain human, but also competitive in an industry that's very much rushing towards AI and also rushing towards efficiency? And it's something I put out to the audience because, again, I don't have the answers for this. I do think there's a happy medium of finding a way to leverage, but then also push back at the same time. And I'm just curious if I've even missed certain things where other creators are optimizing and using AI, and maybe ways that I can even use it more, like use it to my benefit. Or ways that you feel are scary that I should not be using it to my benefit. Like I've already put photos of myself into AI generators and that freaks me out. I'm like, who gets access to this? Like, does everyone get access to this? Like, am I just in the ether now? Like, what does this all mean? All right, finally, segment 4, the ethical gray zones and disclosure dilemmas. Now we talked about this a little bit, but like I said on Instagram, there's only one small little toggle that says like, this is AI generated. And like, it's not even big font. Like you could very easily be fooled. So I'm a bit scared of about that because there is this focus on transparency and also transparency when it comes to the audience and brand experience, right? So should creators disclose when content is AI assisted? I believe yes. I think that like if we are using AI to edit and or streamline our experience, it feels the same way that like when we do an ad, we should say hashtag ad. It feels like this should say like hashtag AI or like AI generated or AI assisted or whatever the industry standard is going to be. But like I think about the FTC disclosures, which is like the ad that I'm talking about, that did not even come into place until like less than 5 years ago. And even still, it's not fully regulated in the industry. And so that freaks me out a little bit because if we're looking at something like the FTC and how they haven't even been able to crack down on influencers disclosing ad content, that just makes me feel like the AI boom is just, it's unstoppable. Like if we can't control ads, we definitely can't control AI content. So freaks me out. What's the line between smart automation and deceptive production? And this is the other thing that really scares me. Like, again, like I said, leveraging my name and likeness, someone could, create this whole production, but I don't actually know about it. And they leverage this whole video and it goes viral online. There's such a fine line. Would you, for example, be okay with a brand cloning your voice for future ads? Like, unless you're being compensated an insane amount, I genuinely think that's the scariest thing ever. But I could see a world where that is, like I said, the new influence, the new wave. We start to negotiate based on literally voice, name, and likeness. It's kind of interesting. Like maybe they're like, that's just it. Like you bundle a deal. You're like, pay me 7 figures and you can have it for 6 months. I don't know. Like, is that the way it's going to look? I genuinely don't know. Here are some areas that I do think are relevant. Like I said, when it comes to AI, I'm just kind of putting it all in a pretty picture now, but I think caption aids, I do get. Using thumbnail creation is something I also think is not a bad idea when it comes to YouTube. Obviously, AI generators know a lot about kind of what works and what doesn't when it comes to like having a big human on screen, big text on screen. So if it can speed up your process when it comes to thumbnails, I also think that's not a bad place to implement AI. Lawyers, like I said, using AI as your assistant, using it for redlining contracts. I think that's a great place for leveraging it and speeding up the creator experience. Creating summaries of decks, like I said, before going on calls with brands, concepting, and then potentially even like pitching ideas. But all said with a grain of salt, because like I also said, I think it's very important that we continue to advocate for our own creativity and we remain critical thinkers and come up with our own ideas when it comes to what we're being paid for. This is the service we are offering brands. This is the service that we are experts in. So it's like, of course, I'm going to be better at this than I hope an AI generator would be. And I mean, listen, this is going to touch so many industries. Obviously, the creative industries is so close to my heart when it comes to like film writing. Like, what is this going to mean for writers? What is this going to mean for novelists? What is this like? I have so many questions. I think all I know is my creator economy best because this is the world that I, sleep and breathe every single day. But it freaks me out. Like I said, it also sort of excites me. I do think it's now or never. Like we either get on board and we all hold hands and say, okay, we're heading towards AI. Let's dive right in. But I also think there's a whole other side of this that runs into ethical issues and trust issues. And ultimately, this could be the demise of the creator economy because once we lose trust, what do we really have? Scary times, y'all. Anyways, I hope this didn't like depress you on a Monday. It's heavy, but also thought-provoking. And I don't know, this is why you come to That Digital Take because we got to talk about the hard-hitting things, okay? So maybe what I'll try to do is have a guest on that will come shortly that is potentially more proficient in AI than I am, and we can do a more deep dive about how it's affecting the industries because obviously I'm no expert. These are just things that I'm noticing in my workflow and things behind the scenes as I chat with clients and as I try to, work smarter, faster, and cheaper like everybody else. So if you made it this far, I will repeat the discussion question. I'd love to see some feedback in the comments. I know this is a hot topic, but like I said, here's the question of the week. How do we stay human and competitive in an industry that is rushing towards AI and also efficiency? Like I said, I really don't have the answer here, folks, so I hope that you will jump in the discussions and let me know your thoughts because I love that community feel, that human connection like we've been talking about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please leave a comment, get into the discussion. This is a very hot topic, and I will see you in the next episode. I love you, mean it. Bye.